So I'm very happy to be here today because Peggy just outlined some very complex requirements and regulations within the United States, and I'm on the IT side. I'm not going to go through lines of code with you here today, but I want to tell you a little bit about what the approach was at AmerisourceBergen and start with a little bit of an explanation of the complexity of our business that we had to make sure we put a solution around. So that's what the next 10 minutes is going to help share for you. So we'll go through a little bit understanding about what ABC is, what the impact of this law has been, some of our objectives of what we call our program, which is our solution and delivery towards meeting the requirements and regulations, and then the actual solution itself. So a little bit about ABC. So start with, we're a $120 billion company right now with 16,000 employees globally. We have 50,000 healthcare facilities that we deliver to every single day. Those are hospitals, retail accounts, independent doctors, oncology clinics, etc. So quite expansive, and we deliver to them 5 days a week, most of them once a day. There are a few that have a little more than once a day. Completely different than a lot of the European model. We have 140 offices around the United States, or around the country, the US, globe, and I think 52 countries we actually have a physical office in, but we do ship to all of the others. And about 1.5 million product lines a day. That's closer to 2 million today. And that equates to about 10 million units of product coming into our facility every day, mostly in case quantities, and going out every day in unit quantities. So a big difference between what we receive and how we send it out. Couple other facts. The specialty distribution market is large for us. 49% of that is within AmerisourceBergen. 95% of all of the hospitals in the U.S. are serviced by us. Also serviced by other wholesalers, depending on what market you're servicing them on. And 100% of all the major manufacturers for pharmaceuticals have product that go through our facilities. Again, just to give you a depiction of where we are around the globe. Talk about some of the impact. So AmerisourceBergen has a business unit, literally every one of them, defined in the law for one or more regulations. So that talks about the normal distribution, which is the largest portion of our business. It talks about repackaging, manufacturing, and pharmacy. And we have every one of those businesses. So this is a quick chart that helps define the impact to our business units based on the regulation that's out there. And those impacts, some take place at different stages, as Peggy had mentioned, how this law is kind of a phased-in approach. That's how it is also with some of our business units. Some are not impacted until later, particularly like the pharmacies. I look at the whole law as kind of like a relationship, and the lot traceability part that went into effect earlier this year is what I consider the courting phase. And then we have this whole serialization piece coming up around 2017, and I think of that as the marriage. And then the stabilization of that relationship takes place until 2023, when finally you're able to sit around, don't have to say a word, and you feel real comfortable with each other. And that's kind of how I look at this whole approach. But as you can see here, we have a number of business units across there. Since this was all put together, this is a little bit dated for us, we've also engaged in other new businesses. So we recently made a large purchase of a veterinary supply company that services both the human or the companion and the human nutritional needs. So we call it some other things I won't go into today, but we do have the largest veterinary supply company in the U.S., and then just recently announced the upcoming purchase of what was in the Title I that we didn't talk about earlier, which is a compounding company for compounding medicines. Those are not on here, but clearly every single business unit within our company across many, many areas are impacted by this law. So my job, as I said, I'm IT. How do I approach this? How do I service our business? Technology does not drive business. Business drives technology. But I have to be prepared. I have to be ready for those things that we know about, as well as the things that we are still unsure of. As Peggy also mentioned, there's a lot of new discussion and regulation type guidelines that are going to be coming out all the way until 2023 and perhaps beyond. And we need to have a system that's prepared for that. We need to have ourselves, our house in order, if you will. We cannot rip and replace systems with the type of investments involved every time we get more clarity. So that's the approach that we've taken from day one. And it kind of comes into three major categories. That's how I keep it kind of in my mind and be able to get my hands around it. We have identification, capture, and sharing. Those are the three components of the entire regulation, and I would venture to say it's the same with every regulation in every country. And so when we talk about identification, we're talking about products. There's a lot of them out there. We have over 60,000 just in the pharmaceutical side that we're managing. And it's also about the trading partners. It's not easy for a trading partner to recognize a facility the exact same way as someone else. And in fact, most don't. But yep, it's the same facility. And when it comes to legal transactions, we have to all recognize that as the same. So identification of product, identification of your trading partners are very important. It eliminates the errors. We have NDCs. I'm so happy to say that we're moving forward with G10 because I believe many of the errors we've had even before these regulations will be resolved by having a common identifier for products. The specific trading partners I talked about, licensing and other things that are out there to help identify a partner has never been sufficient. We're going to be using the global location number, also another GS1 identifier, and that's part of the DSCSA standards that we'll be implementing. And then, of course, the errors we talked about. Capturing serialized data. Even with, if I back up now with lot traceability, we're using this advanced ship notice in the US that was not designed for this. It was designed strictly as a shipping document, but we retrofitted it a little bit to make it work for now. It is not sustainable, and it has been extremely painful to implement across 500 plus manufacturers that we are getting data from. So being able to capture information is as important when we go to serialization as it is now, but we have a better tool, and that is EPCS, which was designed specifically for this purpose, and that's going to make the big difference for us. Sharing data. We don't know what all is going to come out of data from a marketing point of view, and I don't even want to get into those discussions, but we do have to share data amongst all of ourselves. And so being able to do that again and being able to recognize what that data is part and parcel to the other things around identification and capture. So these are three major tenets of what we look at when we look at our solutions. So we step up to the 50,000 foot and look down at the whole program, and we have to remember these three things. So let's talk about some of our objectives. Patient safety. We're all here about patient safety. And I really like it when I hear that because so many discussions in so many venues, people never even mention that. But that is, in the bottom line, in the end, what this is all about. So we remember that as we go through some of our objectives. Establishing and maintaining a secure supply chain program. We didn't have a group of people at AmerisourceBergen to manage this regulation. We had to build one from scratch. And we did that starting with 2 people, and now there's many involved. Complying with and exceeding the law. We didn't want to just meet the minimum law as it's written in fine print. We wanted to be able to take advantage for our own commerce, what that might bring for us. So we look beyond just what is within the law and continue to find ways to take advantage of what we're doing already. Again, if you're capturing information you didn't have before, there must be some opportunities with that data. So we made sure that we did that. That is our strategic thinking. We've never looked at our solutions from just what we have to deliver now. We've looked at these solutions for what we have to deliver in the long haul. Systems today typically turn about every 10 years. This is a 10-year bill. So we need to make sure we're ready to support it all the way through 2023. The business partners that we have internally and externally, with data availability I've talked about before, is so key. This is a largely system-generated solution to every one of these regulations. And its key driver is information between trading partners. So that was very important to us. Utilizing global data standards. We're a global company. Most of you are as well. And having the standards that are something that we can talk and communicate amongst and across country borders is something that's very important to us. There's only one, and that's EPCIS. So that's why we have stood behind that. And then, of course, having an enterprise solution. We are multiple business units, as I showed earlier. We did not want a solution that was going to be disparate. We wanted a single solution. So with that, I'll just close with this. Again, I'm not going through lines of code. This is what our system looks like. And it breaks down into 3 major areas. You have our local business units that are capturing data as transactions occur, product moving through our facilities, if you will. That's our capturing area. Identification is our enterprise system, our master data, so key to all of the success of any solution. And then sharing, our e-commerce, our EDI, our other environments that allow us to pass data between trading partners, and in some cases, amongst our own business units. So again, I keep it simple: identify, capture, and share. In the future, we'll have some more enhancements that we'll do, but it won't change from the identify, capture, and share. So that's our solution at a high level. Again, I'll be around for any questions, and I think we have a few minutes for questions now, or did I go way too far?
We will have questions this afternoon.
This afternoon, okay. Very good. Thank you, guys.